You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
Hi, welcome to another Cold Fusion video. Since their founding in 1976 by a business-savvy hippie and a nerd, Apple has had a unique place in the tech market. Today, they're a polarizing entity, but historically, Steve Jobs has always made sure that Apple products were accessible to non-technical people. Making things easy to use opened up the door to a much wider market. The original iPhone was a groundbreaking device. The breakthrough of using your own fingers to seamlessly navigate a pocket device with smart software made the iPhone absolutely crush former mobile kings. After its launch in 2007, the iPhone gradually replaced the iPod as Apple's biggest revenue driver. With this being said, it shouldn't be any surprise that Apple makes most of its money from the iPhone. About 70% of its profits come from this device. Between 2008 and 2017, the number of iPhones shipped surged from 11.6 million to 216 million units. During that same period, Apple's annual revenue soared over 600%. In terms of raw profit, Apple manages to produce iPhones for $370 or less and sell them for an average price of $720. And of course, the iPhone X ships for over $1,000. To support this high price, Apple has positioned their products as luxury devices. Other companies sell the devices at much thinner margins. To give you an idea, Apple rakes in 86% of the entire smartphone industry's profits, despite controlling just 24% of the global market. Interestingly, the iPhone X alone takes in 35% of all profits of the entire industry. But the iPhone isn't the only great phone out there right now. There was a time when the iPhone was miles ahead of anything else in the market, but that's simply not the case anymore. If Apple doesn't make drastic changes, after a while, the interest in the iPhone will only last so long. When iPhone sales finally fade, Apple needs new products and services to pick up the slack, but in the meantime, they have another way of making money. I've heard so many of my friends say, I've had a few iPhones and I'm liking them less and less, but I don't want to change to Android because I'll lose all of my stuff. Even though one of my friends has an iPhone, she called Apple the cult of the tech world for trapping her in their ecosystem. The combination of Apple's walled software garden and brand loyalty makes the iPhone ideal bait for growing Apple's service business. Apple services are things like the App Store, iTunes, Apple Music, iBooks, AppleCare, and Apple Pay. After iPhone users start buying their apps and media from the App Store and iTunes, they're much less likely to leave behind their purchases by switching to Android devices. Tim Cook is very aware of this, and he has repeatedly stated that Apple plans to grow its software services to offset the gradual slowdown of iPhone sales. Because of this, the services section of Apple is becoming more and more important as time goes on. As the smartphone market shrinks, Apple has to make more money out of the market that they've acquired from iPhone users. The company hopes to double their services revenue by 2020, and it appears to be on track to be doing so. Apple's lock-in strategy also helps as well. Their upgrade program lets people pay for iPhones on a monthly basis for 2 years. After 12 months, users can switch to the latest iPhone and reset the payment process. Apple can make a bit of extra cash by selling accessories. For example, some of the best-selling Apple products right now aren't the iPhone, but dongles and earpods, mainly because of the removal of the headphone jack from the iPhone. Standard USB dongles on the MacBook Pro are also hot sellers. Okay, so I was going to put advertising as a reason for Apple's success, but I have a feeling that Apple's advertising isn't working as effectively as it once did. The direct advertising might not be as powerful, but in the age of reality TV, the status symbol aspect of Apple's brand is working. Pretty much all major celebrities use iPhones, and whenever there's media coverage on that celebrity in question, there they are with an iPhone or MacBook. After a while of this free advertising, the Apple devices become a status symbol in their own right. For impressionable people, this may mean that the iPhone is the only phone worth getting, further driving Apple's sales. So I think the secret to Apple's success is multi-pronged, but not entirely a surprise. I think Tim Cook has pushed the company into a strictly business attitude. Under his lead, Apple has found ways to generate more profit from higher margins, aggressively kept consumers in the Apple ecosystem, and made dongles a top seller. But that being said, there's a large part of me that wonders, where has the Apple of old gone? The iPod, iPhone, and even Mac were all transformative products. It really has been a while, and I'm sure consumers would love to see another major innovation. The Apple Watch and HomePod were just not it. Apple isn't running out of money anytime soon, so they're not in trouble, and it doesn't really matter what they do in the end, but the room is no longer empty. Microsoft has caught on to the idea of trying new things with projects like the Surface Line and HoloLens, or Project Andromeda. Maybe Apple has something big up their sleeve, but the world isn't going to wait forever.